The sound of metal crashing across the repair shop echoed louder than anyone expected. Every wrench stopped moving. Every mechanic looked up. In the middle of the garage stood a tired single father with grease on his hands, a lunchbox that held more hope than food, and a termination letter shaking in his fingers. The manager smirked as security walked toward him, believing they had just gotten rid of another ordinary employee. But what nobody noticed was the calm look in the mechanic's eyes as he reached into his pocket, pulled out an old phone, and made one quiet call. Less than an hour later, the same people who celebrated his dismissal would be begging for answers they would never receive. Sometimes the strongest people never raise their voices. They simply let the truth speak for them. Before we continue, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance and good people should never be judged by their circumstances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Dad Talks and Stories. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Every morning before sunrise, Rowan Mercer followed the same routine. He prepared breakfast for his 8-year-old son, packed a simple lunch, checked his son's homework, and walked him to the school bus before driving 30 minutes to Hawthorne Auto Works. His co-workers only saw a quiet mechanic wearing worn-out boots and faded coveralls. They never saw the sleepless nights spent comforting a child who still missed his mother. They never noticed the unpaid bills hidden beneath the kitchen table or the sacrifices Rowan made so his son could continue smiling. Life had already tested him enough, yet he never complained. Instead, he worked harder than anyone else, earning a reputation among customers as the mechanic who could fix problems others could not. The repair shop had changed after new management arrived. The new supervisor cared more about appearances than honesty. Experienced workers were replaced by cheaper employees, shortcuts became normal, and anyone who questioned unsafe repairs was labeled difficult. Rowan refused to compromise his values. Every vehicle leaving his workbench was repaired properly because he knew families depended on those cars. That integrity slowly turned him into a target. One busy afternoon, a luxury SUV arrived with severe brake damage. Rowan insisted the owner needed a complete replacement, but management ordered him to install cheaper parts to increase profits. Rowan refused. He documented everything, signed his inspection report honestly, and walked away rather than risk someone's life. By the next morning, false accusations appeared against him. He was blamed for delaying repairs, creating conflict among employees, and disrespecting management. Without any investigation, he was dismissed in front of everyone. As Rowan collected his tools, whispers filled the garage. Some co-workers avoided eye contact because they feared losing their own jobs. Others believed the lies they had been told. Rowan did not argue. He simply carried his toolbox outside, sat inside his old pickup truck, and stared at the photograph of his son taped to the dashboard. Losing the job meant losing their apartment, their security, and possibly the future he had worked so hard to protect. For a brief moment, the weight of life felt impossible to carry. Then Rowan remembered something he had promised years earlier. Before the company's founder retired, he had personally thanked Rowan for exposing a dangerous supplier that could have caused deadly accidents. The founder had handed Rowan a business card and quietly said that if integrity was ever punished instead of rewarded, he should never hesitate to call. Rowan had never used that number. Until now. The call lasted less than 3 minutes. Rowan calmly explained everything, including copies of repair records, inspection reports, emails, and photographs he had carefully saved over the years. He never exaggerated. He simply shared the truth. On the other end of the phone, silence slowly turned into concern. Unknown to the repair shop staff, Hawthorne Auto Works had recently been purchased by a family-owned investment group committed to restoring the company's reputation. The retired founder still served as a trusted advisor to the new owners. Rowan's evidence immediately triggered an emergency audit. The following morning looked ordinary until several black vehicles arrived outside the garage. Corporate investigators entered quietly, asking employees to continue working as if nothing had changed. Within hours, financial records, repair histories, surveillance footage, and supplier contracts revealed years of dishonest practices hidden beneath polished reports. Managers had ignored safety standards, manipulated invoices, and fired honest workers to silence complaints. By afternoon, the same supervisor who proudly dismissed Rowan was escorted into a conference room. Department heads who approved fraudulent repairs were suspended. Human resources executives who ignored documented complaints lost their positions. Employees watched in stunned silence as one office after another emptied. Nobody could believe how quickly everything changed. Rowan received another phone call asking him to return, not as a mechanic, but as the new director of quality assurance for every repair center in the region. His responsibility would no longer be fixing cars alone. He would build a culture where honesty mattered more than profits and where hardworking employees never feared speaking the truth. Returning to the garage felt surreal. The workers who once looked away now greeted him with respect. Rowan carried no anger. He knew many had simply been afraid. Instead of seeking revenge, he focused on rebuilding trust. Every mechanic received updated training. Safety inspections became transparent. Customers were informed honestly about repairs. The workplace slowly transformed into something everyone could be proud of. At home, life changed just as quietly. Rowan no longer worried about choosing between groceries and electricity. His son noticed the difference not because of money, but because his father smiled again. Evenings became filled with homework, laughter, homemade dinners, and baseball games in the backyard. Success did not erase the pain they had endured, but it proved that difficult seasons do not last forever. Months later, customer satisfaction reached record levels. Employees felt respected, turnover dropped dramatically, and the company regained the community's trust. During an appreciation ceremony, Rowan stood before hundreds of workers. He did not speak about revenge or victory. He spoke about responsibility, honesty, and remembering that every employee carries unseen battles beyond the workplace. His words left many people wiping away tears because they recognized pieces of their own lives in his story. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like this video, share it with your family and friends, subscribe to Dad Talks and Stories, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your support encourages us to keep sharing stories that inspire hope, resilience, and compassion. Special request: comment below with the words, "Kindness always wins," if you believe honesty and compassion will always shine brighter than greed. As Rowan tucked his son into bed one peaceful evening, he realized the greatest reward had never been the promotion or the title. It was knowing his child had witnessed something priceless. True strength is not measured by how loudly someone fights back but by how faithfully they stand for what is right when nobody else will. The people who underestimated him believed they had ended one father's future. Instead, they unknowingly opened the door to a better life, a stronger company, and a lesson that everyone who witnessed it would remember forever. In a world where shortcuts often seem easier than integrity, Rowan's journey proved that truth may walk slowly, but it always arrives exactly when it is needed most. And when it does, it changes not only one life, but countless others who finally find the courage to stand for what is right.